Yo, guys, what's up, and welcome back to the Marvelous Chats podcast. This is episode 117. Tonight on the cast is myself, Finto, and Alex, aka Zebrolf. We're going to be talking about the finale of Loki season 2 and any other nerdy news from the week. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, drop a like on the video, and if you're listening to us on any of the podcast and apps, leave a review. And if you want to be part of the conversation live, head over to our YouTube channel. We do these live every Sunday at 10 p.m. GMT. Without further ado, here we go. Brother, how are you?
Hey, how's it going, buddy?
I'm good, dude. How are you?
I'm tired, man. Just decided to play video games with Rob, like Max Luther, and just
Oh,
like
nice, nice.
staying up. Like he works late, so like I want to stay up late and play with him, and it's just like holy shit. It's like 4 in the morning when I'm finished, and then I sleep for like 6 hours or 7, wake
Yeah,
up at 11, and then I'm like, oh fuck, man, I feel like I didn't sleep too well.
that's been my life for the last 4 years. The only time I get to stream is late at night. I start at 10 p.m. and I finish at like 2 a.m.
Mhm.
I've started to kind of cut back a little bit when if I'm working on site, I'll try and be like in bed for like 1:30, just so that I can at least try and get 6 hours. But yeah, like, it's well known we need more sleep, but part of me thinks, I don't want to be sleeping a third of my life either, so you gotta live too. So I don't know. I
It's
think
tough, man.
it is a tough call. They say 7 or 8 hours should be the minimum that you're getting, but if you sleep 8 hours a day every day, you're sleeping for a third of your life. So it's kind of fucked up when you think about it. you know, I'd prefer to be live and having fun. Rob, what's up, dude? Welcome in. Um, yeah, this week for me. I was at I had to travel across the country. I was at a bachelor party or a stag, as we call them, and I was very, very hungover this morning when I woke up, and I even had to let one of my friends drive my car home because I was just that bad. Like I was like, I will probably kill us if I get behind the wheel now. So, I got home and I was literally just like I was sitting there and I was like shaking. I was just really badly hungover, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get a load of liquids into me. I'm gonna just chill on the couch for a bit. I'm gonna watch a movie. We'll see how I feel. And I was like half tempted to cancel the cast tonight, and I was like, I'll wait a little while. I'll wait a little while because I do want to go live. And yeah, I started to kind of come back around. Got a pizza and just was chilling with the fam for a bit when they got home as well. And yeah, basically, we're here. We made it. But I was tempted to cancel because I haven't seen the Marvels yet. I know it came out on Friday, um, but I just with the busy weekend that I hadn't had a chance to see it. Now, what we'll do tonight, we'll talk about Loki, and then if you want to kind of talk about the Marvels, we can, and then next week, once I've seen it, we'll do like a kind of full breakdown. But I have heard some of the bits, so if people are open to some potential spoiler talk, like I know what the after credit scene is and stuff like that, like so. I've no problem kind of talking about it now. I've kind of seen a lot of this stuff anyway, so I
Mhm.
probably could talk about it, but I am very interested to see what you think or what you thought of the movie. So yeah, we'll get into
Have,
that as well.
well, have you watched any anime?
Anime? No, no.
Bro.
Sorry. Well, I watched Invincible. I'm up to date with Invincible.
Well, that's not anime, dude. That's animated. Like that's American animations. I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah, yeah.
about anime.
No, no, no. I have not. So yeah, like I'm really liking Invincible.
Oh
It's
yeah,
very cool, very cool.
we
So
can
yeah,
talk more
we
about
could
that.
yeah we can talk about Invincible. I have no problem doing that. I completely forgot about that actually, but I probably should have put it in the thumbnail. But hey,
All good.
anyway, um, what did you think? Let's just dive into Loki. What did you think? The finale.
Um, I, I, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know how to answer this like properly without sounding like I've just been shitting on the season this entire time. It's not so much that I wasn't appreciative of the fact that like Loki showcased himself like taking up all the different strands of universes that were going on, different timelines and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's more so like, yeah, we kind of knew this was going to happen when things are obvious, when things are just kind of like put forward, and like even with all the speculation that goes on, if
Mhm.
you're able to catch your audience off guard and do something completely different, then I say you won. You basically won them over. You're going to have so many people like praise the show, and I think that this is more, in my opinion, this is more in the lines of like, here's some candy. Um, Here's all the candy you can have, and to be honest, I'm getting sick of it. So it's reached a point where I like Katie and I were sitting there. We were already calling everything. We had already called the whole time slipping thing. We had called that like he was going to take over. We called that eventually he was going to realize that he was going to be the one that had to like go through the bridge and go destroy the time loop, the time loom, and like it's not a, oh, I wonder what's going to happen thing. Like it's just been constant, this is what's going to happen situations. And like even at the end of it, like Katie was just, she was like, this was dumb. And I said, yeah, like it's not, it's not as fun as it used to be. Like I think that there were a lot of missed opportunities with the second season. I think things should have gone wackier. I think things, you know, excuse me, I think things should have been a bit more insane on like the spectrum of things. And I understand that it's a TV show, but even CW TV shows can have like special effects once in a while, or have different things pop up, or have different like uh cameos and drop-ins and hints at things, Easter eggs, like even more so than what we had. Like a lot of the Easter eggs that we saw in the entirety of the show, especially in the finale, was like, it's so lackluster.
Mm.
It's more so like post-it notes, writings on the wall, things that we saw previously. And even then, like we get to that end point where like he's trying things over and over and over again, and it's like, I I don't care. Like
Yeah.
it reached a strong point only at the end of it, which is sad because when you think of a finale, you want things to just get insane throughout the entire time, reach that climax, bring it down a bit, but then still give you that question, what the fuck just happened?
Hmm.
And that's why when we saw Gen V, like the season finale for Gen V, you and I were both like, that was awesome. Like
Yeah.
it just escalated and escalated and escalated until Homelander was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And you thought like, and you would think to yourself, like, he's gonna help them, right? But like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
It's the complete opposite, which is expected of Homelander. But like
Yeah.
at the very least, it's like you don't know what he's gonna do because he's chaos. Like it's just, it could be anything. He could have helped them,
Yeah.
but he didn't. And so like that's what I see with Loki. Like it's just this whole like it's inevitable kind of situation, but like at the same time, it, what does it matter? Like if it all plays over and over and over again, much like in the Terminator, like it's inevitable that the war goes on between the humans and the machines. Yeah, that's true. But like at the very least, like when we saw T1 and T2, like it's just this whole concept of like they're trying their damnedest to fucking stop it.
Hmm.
And it's just, and it's damn near inevitable. And like even at the end of T2 when you saw like all the things going on, and you notice that like Arnold Schwarzenegger's arm got cut off, like the T800, like his arm got like smashed into like the machinery. um and like we thought that the T1000 was boiled, and so like they're gone. T800's gone because like he got rid of his chipset and whatnot, but they totally forgot the arm. Like it's this perpetuation. Like it doesn't matter how many times you try, it's always going to end up this way. So like it doesn't feel like they did that successfully with this, because it's still inevitable. We're still going to have a multiversal war. We're still going to have like this fight between all the Kangs and the Avengers or whoever like they want to pick up for Marvel characters. And it's just, it doesn't feel any way justified to basically get rid of Loki for the sake of everything else, because Tom Hiddleston is done, from what I understand. Like it's been like
Yeah.
he's
I was going to talk about this, but I don't know, because I think he did mention in an interview before, when like after Infinity War, he said he was done as well, but then he came back. You know what I mean? So I take what he says with a pinch of salt, because like he has said before as well that he would play the character until the day he died if Marvel allowed it. So I think he will return. Yeah.
right, but at what but like I get what you're saying, and I would say that it would have to be a variant. It can't be
Possibly.
the one that's sitting on the throne currently. If you have the one that's sitting on the throne currently, I'm done. Like I don't want it
Yeah, I
because
don't think
it
it would.
doesn't make
I don't
sense
think
to
it would.
me.
Yeah, I don't think it would be him. But at the same time, I was thinking about it as well. Like, let's say, for example, if the story goes the way that we think it's going to go, where like every single timeline is going to be destroyed, bar Battle World, would that mean that he doesn't need to sit on the throne anymore because it's all been erased except for one place, and then there's like a reset and a restart with like a new
Right.
Prime Earth or something, and then does
So
that free him up? Maybe.
right, but how do you write that?
Well,
Like
I
how
presume
do you get him off how do you get him off the road?
incursions all over the place. Everything gets destroyed, bar one place that's Battle World at the and then by the time we get to Secret Wars, Battle World is all that exists. So maybe that version of Loki doesn't need to sit on the throne anymore.
But why? Like at what point? Like that's what's confusing to me is like at what point are you going to bring out Loki and have him do this whole situation where he's like, well, I don't need to sit there anymore, even though he's considered this like it, from what our perspective is, it's like storyteller Loki or like story. I forgot what it was called, but basically, unless you implement his like visions or ideals or even his like voice within the hearts or minds of every Marvel hero during this entire time span. There's no way for me to see a concrete like story to bring him out of it. Considering like if you were to just destroy everything and then he pops up, it's like that's such a cop out and it's lazy. Whereas like someone who's as powerful as Loki at this point should be able to talk to anybody, considering he's right next to the strands of time, and he's
Yeah,
created the new tree. So like it's you have to incorporate all of that together. And if you don't, it's completely lazy writing. That's what we've been seeing consistently with Marvel is that they forget that there's things that connect together, and we've talked about this multiple times. There's things that connect together that should connect, and yet they're not because they don't know how to communicate amongst their heroes.
yeah. I think so. I think so. Yeah. Like I was listening back on last week's podcast, and just after I watched the finale, and like we kind of when we were speculating what we think might happen in the finale, we kind of pretty much got it spot on. Um, I still kind of like where the conversation went last week. We were talking about how like potentially Loki could interfere with like the fate of one of his variants, like for example the one that died in Infinity War. He could potentially change something that makes him stick around, and,
Yeah.
perhaps that's how we get Loki back. But this version, this god Loki, just sits on the chair for the rest of the time, and that's his sacrifice. I think that's the best way to do it.
Right. And
That
so
Yeah,
that would answer your like my
yeah,
question. Is
yeah,
essentially it's essentially what they did when they did the finale, which was when he was time slipping, he was putting himself into other Lokis, into
mhm,
essentially.
yeah.
So if you're saying it that way, I can see that.
Mm. That would be cool, and I think that would work. Because like I can't remember, was it Feige who said it or one of the showrunners said it, but they were saying like the end goal for Loki's character is for it to get him to reunite with Chris Hemsworth. Like so, it's like how are they going to do that now if he's saying he's done? Like if Loki's story's finished, like they can't do that.
Right.
Like so, I really don't see that happening. I think Loki will absolutely return in some capacity, some shape or form.
Well, and I but at this point I feel like you need to have a second cast.
Ye-
You
oh,
need to have
mhm,
a new character, like a new Loki type that has like a different like it's a variant, of course. So you can have it look different. Like why is it that it's just Tom Hiddleston and that I forgot her name. I forgot the actress's name. I absolutely like Katie and I absolutely hated her in this season. We did not like her at all during this entire season. It felt like she was underutilized, but at the same time when she was like conversing with everyone, it was just this blame situation, which felt like so annoying.
yeah,
And
I would love to never see her again. To be honest,
yeah, it,
Sylvie.
it's and it's the most non like I would say like non like congruent or concrete. I can't like think of the right term. Basically, like she got thrown back at the McDonald's, which is fucking weird. And I know it's just for advertisement reasons, like when she should have been thrown back to her fucking timeline because everyone else was thrown back to where they originally were. Originally. So you're
Yeah.
saying that she was born at the McDonald's?
Well, she should have gone back to Asgard.
Yeah,
You would hope.
exactly.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, we know that the TVA are going to be in Deadpool 3, so it's like, I would feel it would be very strange if Loki wasn't in Deadpool 3. You know what I mean? I just think like that show is just going to carry on into it. Now, him putting this, I think he was speaking on Jimmy Kimmel or something like him, Tom Hiddleston saying that he's done, like the character's finished. I'm kind of like, is he, or is it just that version that is finished? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know
Yeah.
if like Loki's finished or if just that version is finished. Like, I think he's just having people on, to be honest. He's just being a trickster, you know, as they do. I
But
think I don't know if I would like them to recast Loki. I think
I didn't
Hiddleston
I
is
didn't
like,
say recast.
yeah, okay, yeah.
I said I
Because I
said
was
a
gonna
secondary
say,
cast. Like
yeah.
you because you still have Toby, Andrew, and Tom.
Mhm.
So like there it's not necessarily a recasting at this point. It's a, secondary and tertiary casting.
Yeah.
So like new castings. Like that's all I want.
Yeah, I'd just like to see another Tom Hiddleston variant. Like, I think he is Loki, you know? Like, I don't it's kinda like, I love all the Spider-Man, and I don't have one favorite Spider-Man, but there's a few people, like a few castings, like I wouldn't want to see another Thor. You know, I know we will see another Thor at some point. I won't be happy about it. I'll never want to see somebody else play Iron Man. I'll never want to see somebody else play Steve Rogers. I think all those people were so perfectly cast for those roles that I'm like, I really just don't want to see other people play them. I know we will. If we're gonna, that day will come, and you know, I'll have to deal with it when it comes. But I don't want those days to come. You know what I mean?
Right. Which is kind of but that's still sad in my opinion, dude, because when you think about it,
It is.
a
It is.
well, when you think about it, like when people casted, like when they were casting for Spider-Man, when they were doing the first live action for the more modern sense, like in the 2000s, they casted Tobey Maguire. And you'll see this video anywhere, like with Stan Lee talking about how they essentially, like the fans were essentially like, he doesn't look anything like Peter Parker. He doesn't
Yeah.
look anything like him. And after they showed the movie, after people watched it, they loved him. And then when they went to the Amazing Spider-Man, they were like, he doesn't look anything like Toby.
Yeah.
Like how is he going to compare? And people loved it. And same thing like with Tom Hiddleston, like they were like, how the hell is this gonna turn out? Seems like it's, Andrew Garfield was such a great casting. And Stan Lee like loved Tom Hiddleston's or
Tom
Tom
Holland.
Hiddleston, Tom Holland, um, Tom Holland's like portrayal of Spider-Man because that's his like perfect envisionment. But for me, like I think Andrew Garfield's is like top tier. I think
Yeah.
Tom Holland's is great. Like it's just a bit more on the annoying side for me. Like I think it's a little more like, a little less like cockiness and a little more like wonder, I guess. And
Mhm.
but like the whole idea is that anybody can fit into the costume if you give it
Mhm.
time. And so that's the whole point of it. That's what I really felt with Chadwick Boseman when he passed away, that we should have passed on the mantle. Like we should have given someone else a shot at the title basically.
Mhm.
And by denying that, we further perpetuate this moment of where you will sit there and tell me there can never be another Robert Downey Jr. Of course not. But there could be another Iron Man. I would love another Iron Man. Remember when you were so excited to see that Tom Cruise was possibly going to portray an alternate version, a variant of
Yeah.
Iron Man, and you were so excited about that. And
Yeah.
you were like, "Oh man, that would be so cool." But
It would.
at the same time, you're telling me I don't want another Iron Man. I don't want another Thor. Like you're basically kind of putting yourself in a loop of like, but I would love this. And it's amazing to me because like clearly in your heart you know it's going to change, and I know you just said that you're going to feel bad for having that change happen, but I know in your heart you would be excited to see another movie and to see like more of this character, because that's all I really care about is the character.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Like it's very it can be very unknown, and I think like DC we're living this now in DC. Like they announced the release date for the new Superman movie. It's going to be like 11th of July 2025, and like
Mhm.
right now I'm not excited about this movie, like, because there's just so much up in the air. Like, am I going to like this dude as Superman? Is the movie going to be good? What's James Gunn's vision going to be like? I'm very much going to be like kind of skeptical until I see it, and then I'll make my decision then. And I think the MCU would be the same thing. You know, if they did announce, a reboot, and the new Iron Man is going to come out in 20 fucking 31 or whatever, I'm gonna sit there like very fucking scared until the movie comes out and just hopes that it's great. I don't know, but yeah, like there's certain people that just play the role so perfectly. I don't want to see them leave those roles. And through every single Spider-Man iteration, I didn't like it at the beginning. When I think I was talking to Rob about this before. When I first saw the Tom Holland suit, I nearly cried. I was like, "This is the worst fucking thing I've ever seen in my life." It was terrible. I thought they ruined Spider-Man. You know what I mean? I was so fucking emotional about it. I was like, I can't believe it. Can't believe Andrew's gone. Can't believe this fucking how shit the suit looks. Like, who's this fucking kid playing him now? I was just like, I was all over the place.
Mhm.
And then now I love Tom Holland. You know what I mean? So it just takes time. But initial reactions are for me never good. Never.
No,
I'm not used to. I'm not used to change, bro. I don't like change.
which to me is like one of the biggest things about Marvel is that things are always changing. And that's the whole point of it. And because things haven't changed within like the story writing for ever since Endgame, like after Endgame, it's been kind of very formulaic and like lackluster.
Hmm.
That's probably why we're not feeling anything different. They really changed the game when they did Infinity War because it was just like this. We never expected to see our heroes lose, and that was the biggest moment of our generation. Essentially, was to see our heroes like fucking fail. And the villain won and was able to do exactly what he wanted near the end of it. Now, did they fix it? Yeah, of course. They fixed it in Endgame. But I would say like Endgame is powerful, but not as powerful as Infinity War.
No, Infinity War is the greatest MCU movie, and I don't care what anybody says. There is like no disputing it. I think it's the best MCU movie, potentially the best comic book movie ever made. Like,
Mhm.
honestly, like I don't see how people can dispute that. Some people say Endgame's better. I do not agree at all. Like, I don't even think Endgame's number two.
Well, it's mainly because there was failure, there was death, there was destruction. There was nothing that they could do at the time because they weren't coordinated properly. And it was inevitable. And that's
Hmm.
and that's the whole point. And so what they're doing right now, in my opinion, is that they're doing another I am inevitable kind of situation with Kang,
Hmm.
and they're forcing it a bit harshly in my opinion. Like I think the whole making him he who remains kind of situation is pretty rough in my opinion. I think they
Hmm.
should have done it the standard way where it was just an old man sitting at the end of it and being like I'm he who remains, like cuz the only two people that like I remember in the comics were he who remains and Thor near the end of time, because Thor is essentially like eternal. um
Yeah.
and like they completely removed the whole time twisters situation where the time twisters were going into different timelines
Hmm.
and like basically ruining it and causing all these different branches to come about, and like that was the whole point of like time twisters. And so essentially when they do he who remains as King the Conqueror, in the sense like it essentially gets rid of the time twisters and makes it so that only one person is responsible for all of this. And because you've made it that focal point, it's so hard to get around that. Like if you notice, like what would you do if like if he who remains is gone? Well, everything just explodes and goes back to ground zero essentially. And
Yeah.
like how fucked is that? But like it wasn't like it's not as interesting as like, oh, there's these other things that are fucking with things because they were from a different timeline that understood that like the sacred timeline can be fucked with, and so they're called the time twisters because they're the opposite version of the timekeepers in the sense. Like they were the alternate universe version. So like it's this whole spiel of like there's always an alternate version. So like in the sense where you see He Who Remains, there of course there's many different versions because we know that there's the Council of Kangs, we have like Immortus, we have Ramatut, we have uh, all these different characters, and that's cool. But like you're kind of writing yourself into a corner by not giving it a bit more space. You're putting one villain behind everything, and that only occurs when you actually have a good story that reaches to that point. In which case, like we don't know this character. Like we barely even scratched the surface with this character. I highly doubt that you even know like who Kang is, what he's done, and all the things that he's had, like all the different variants of himself, all the different types of battles he's had, all the different characters he's fought in between. Because like Kang is essentially like a more in-depth read character, whereas like with Thanos is pretty out there. People know Thanos because so many people love Thanos way more than they do Kang. So you probably know more about Thanos than you do with Kang. And I'm pretty sure you don't know shit about Doom, but he's so fucking cool, you're willing to not care about that. And so that's why you're so excited to hopefully get Doom to like take over for some reason. But it has to be organic. It has to be set properly. Otherwise, I will not care.
Yeah. Did you like in the Loki episode? Did you like the parts where they went back to season 1 of the show?
No.
He's talking to He Who Remains, and he's like, "How many times have you done this?" And all. And he cops on straight away that he's like jumping through time and stuff.
Not really. I felt like it's to me, it's all filler. Like when you talk about anime and you talk about like those moments where things are occurring in between, that don't necessarily pertain to the main story. Like that's what time looping is like, you're just creating this filler. When essentially you can create like infinite possibilities. And yes, like he's had multiple times to go through this. So you're saying to me that Loki somehow is able to overtake, He Who Remains, like basic like looping situation. Like he's not aware of this. He literally had a script sitting there explaining everything that was going to occur, which, by all means could still be the same essential thing where, you have He Who Remains still reading from, it's like, yep, so we're going to time loop 3,000 times. He's going to come back. He's going to assume that he's better than me. And then he's going to break the time loom. In which case, multiversal war, it's inevitable, right? Because he never really sounded as if he was so worried about like him breaking the loom, other than the fact that like, shit, if he does it, then we're gonna have this war, and I'm gonna have to fix everything again because it's inevitable, and I'm the one that remains at the end of it. It's like it just feels lazy and boring to me. And so like I didn't care about that. I didn't care that like he couldn't kill Sylvie, even though he was about to. I felt like it would have been much more plausible to kill Sylvie. Considering like there was so much shit that was going on, and like so much like this, so much of this malice I feel towards like Sylvie's character in total, because it's like you've done nothing but bitch and complain about like nothing. Whereas everybody's trying to solve the problem. You're like, it doesn't matter. It's like, fuck you, lady. Like, if it was the other way around too, like it wouldn't matter. Like whether it was a man, a woman, it doesn't matter. Fuck you, person. We got to fix this shit. Stop bitching.
Yeah. I don't know what they did with her character. Like the way they wrote her for season 2 was
it
dreadful.
Was so bad.
And you could tell like in episode 2 as well, like straight away, like it was like, what is going on? She's just like a brat. I don't know. Like
essentially.
Yeah. Just like, so lazy. It's like, okay, everywhere else is destroyed. Okay, yeah, fine, I'll help now. Like, it's like,
like
literally last resort. Okay, fine, I'll do it.
My phone ran out of battery life, and therefore I gotta do my chores.
Yeah.
Fucking bullshit.
Yeah, like, oh, man, like, I don't know, like, the I wasn't mad on, like, and, we've been talking about this every week, like, but I definitely didn't really feel this season of the show. I thought it could have been a lot better. Thought it could have been a lot more, like, grand, you
Yeah.
know, like, and if this truly is the end of Loki, what a terrible send off, like if you to go back and think like everything that Tom Hiddleston's character's been through, and then that's the end that he gets. It's kind of like anticlimactic, and like that makes me kind of think that it isn't the end for him as well. Because I think if they let's say for example that they do write that this is the end of that character, like there's no way in hell like Chris Hemsworth wouldn't have showed up in the final episode. They could make it make sense somehow, like he even just has like a flashback thought about his brother or something like that, and we get to see a scene we haven't seen before or something. Like, there's no way that they would actually put that character fully to bed and not have Thor show up. Like it just doesn't make any sense.
I can see your perspective on that, and I can agree somewhat. According like when you say that, what I am assuming is that you have this whole situation where he's created the basically like a new world tree and has all of these different timelines and he's holding on to it. Um and like I would love for there to be a scene of like the like 2023 Thor is just out there, and you see like him with basically was it her name, is her name Love Now or something like that,
His
like the
daughter,
child, yeah, his daughter.
yeah, love you.
Yeah, so then like that would be cool, like that would be a nice like tie-in where like they're kind of sitting there, and then they're like, like he's kind of looking concerned and she's like, what's the matter? And he's like, I don't know, I feel like
Feel
I'm
empty,
not going, yeah, I feel like I'm
feel
not going to
incomplete or
see,
something. Yeah.
yeah, like I'm not going to see someone for a very long time.
Mm,
And that would have been so fucking heartfelt. I would have fucking teared up for that. I would have
mm,
100% teared up for that, because then it's like, God damn, you guys really cared about this character so much
yeah.
that even his brother essentially was like, I'm gonna miss him. I
Mm,
feel like I'm gonna miss my brother. But like
yeah.
not that, out there. Just like I feel like there's someone in this world or in this universe that I'm not going to see for a very long time.
Hmm.
And that would have been a great
Yeah.
send off.
I feel like that wasn't like a full blown send off for him. Like I don't feel it. I don't believe it, man. I really don't.
Right, but like again, like your brain is so like, and I'm not trying to like put words in your mouth, but I feel like your brain is so wired to just be like, we're only in one direction. Whereas like, dude, this is a multiverse. You can go in any fucking direction. Like
Yeah.
you can get a Loki from anywhere. You could like, and they did, and they fucking did, dude. Like they like not with Loki, but with Gamora. Do you
Mm,
realize that there's a Gamora from a different timeline in like the main MCU timeline right now?
yeah, I
Look
hate
how,
that.
well, why? But why?
I don't like that version of her character.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
But at the very least, they tried something, and they
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah,
like
I didn't like it.
no, I get it, because like she was kind of a like a meanie. Like she
Yeah.
just really like she
Yeah, she's
really
just
didn't
heart
care.
she's just heartless, and then, like, everything that every her the entire character development of Gamora was just scrapped. And, like, they just kind of
Yeah,
reset it back to,
but
and she was even crueler because obviously she went and joined the Ravagers or whatever, so she became a worse person, like, she just did a complete 180, so it's kinda like I loved Gamora, like, she was probably, like, my favorite character of the Guardians, and it was
mhm.
just kinda like, "Oh, wow, okay, so they've taken my favorite character out of the Guardians and done a complete 180 and turned her into an absolute bitch and an evil bitch." I'm just like, okay, fine."
but
So
but that's kind of what I like about it, is the
yeah,
fact that
yeah,
like, but and when you say scrapped, it's not scrapped, dude. That character died.
yeah,
That character's story is over. This is a completely different character if you think about it. It's just
true,
from a
true,
different timeline.
true.
So like your vision of what you liked in your Gamora existed. It's not, like it didn't get erased. It's just it continued off of this one. which is not your cup of tea, but like that doesn't mean that the previous timeline's Gamora like is gone. It's just she's dead, but like it's that story's not gone. I'm saying essentially.
Yeah. Well,
It's
yeah,
just it
the
just sucks
character's
that
now
they
gone.
pulled like it just sucks that they pulled like a one that we're like, yeah, go ahead, leave.
Yeah, yeah. It's like when she leaves at the end of the third movie, I was just like, see ya. I don't
All right.
care. Off you go. Goodbye.
But at the same time, I really like that because it's like, well, you guys like she doesn't know him.
Yeah, what would she hang around for? She
Yeah.
has nothing to hang around for. Yeah, absolutely.
So but that's the coolest thing is like we're not talking about Zoe Saldana.
Mhm.
We're talking about Gamora.
Yeah,
And that's what I want. That's essentially what I want for any character.
yeah.
And you pulled it from a different timeline. That's all I was trying to like that's all I'm trying to get in terms of this. It's like just understand that if we can pull from people from different timelines, like with like Miles. Miles is from like what, Earth 42?
Um,
Or
no, it's like
1610.
10. Yeah, 1610. Yeah, but the
Yeah,
spider that bit him was from 42. Yeah.
42. Right, you're right. So, but I mean, doesn't he exist currently in the main timeline?
There's been a couple of very small references to him in the MCU.
Mm.
Like Donald Glover said that he had a young like nephew,
Mhm.
and when he's talking to Tom Holland in the first movie, he mentions Miles, and then I think there was a little like a little description like in a audio file captured like from No Way Home, where it was like a Portuguese like translation or something, and you could see the conversation next door to Peter's apartment or something like happening at the very end of the movie, where it was like, Miles, put your shit away or whatever. Like, so they're insinuating that maybe Miles is actually Peter's next door neighbor, which would be very cool if they
That
in
would be very
Spider-Man
cool.
4. Yeah, that'd be sick.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what happens. I don't know. Um yeah, like I was gonna kind of go through a whole kind of like, let's predict what happens next with Loki, but now I just like I don't know, you know. It's like TVA, we know they're going to be in Deadpool 3. I really think that Tom Hiddleston's going to be in Deadpool 3 as well. Like I think Loki will reappear somehow if it's going to be, a Loki from the Fox universe or something like that. Like, I think something weird's going to happen and like he'll be in there somehow. I really think he'll be part of Thor 5 in some shape or form as well. Um, I think that he's going to be involved in the likes of Kang Dynasty and stuff like that as well. Like, I just think, if we're getting to a point where, or definitely Secret Wars, like, I
Mhm.
don't know if you heard, there was like a leak during the week of what the like plot of the story is going to be for the two movies. Did you see any of that?
No.
Do you want to know?
Sure.
So basically, they're kind of they're kind of like regurgitating classic kind of Disney fashion, but they're kind of regurgitating the story of like Infinity War again and Endgame. So Kang Dynasty is going to be like Infinity War, where the 616 Avengers are all going to assemble. They're going to try and fight Kang, and they're going to lose. And so this is like the likes of like Sam Wilson and like Tom Holland Spider Man, and the Avengers that are in place right now, like Shang-Chi and stuff like that. They're
Mhm.
all going to lose the fight. I don't know who's going to, like, maybe they'll die. I don't know. But then what's going to happen is there's going to be like a multiversal Avengers put together in secret, apparently. And then they're going to assemble, led by the likes of like Toby and Hugh Jackman, Deadpool, like Ryan Reynolds, blah, 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 so on. And that team, like the ultimate like Avengers team, are then going to go up in Secret Wars and most likely win. So that's kind of like it's kind of like Infinity War and Endgame again, really, just like
Uh,
with a different skin.
oh,
you
with the
know?
mix of what if
Yeah,
you think
yeah,
about it.
sort of, yeah,
No, like
yeah,
entirely, dude. Like if you
yeah,
like that's what the Beyonder did is he took the different characters.
yeah. That's it. Like, yeah, Beyonder plants them all on Battle World. Let's have them have a fight and see who wins. It's all a game to them. Yeah,
See, this is why I think they should just follow the fucking comic and just have it so that, Doom takes the power of the Beyonder and creates Battle World. Like,
God Emperor Doom. Yeah,
fuck it.
sick.
Just
Be
do that.
amazing.
Like
Yeah.
We don't need it to be shoehorned as like one major villain. It could be multiple. Like
Hmm.
it's a fucking huge world, dude. Like it's not just Joker, Zod, and Doomsday.
Yeah. Like
Like
imagine so say like Kang Dynasty happens and like the Kangs win, but then, Doom is just like Doom basically like kills the version of Kang who's the Beyonder, takes that power, makes Battleworld, brings all the villains back, brings all the fucking heroes together, and then Battleworld, and they have like one big massive battle, and it's like Ultron, it's Thanos back, it's potentially a variant of Loki. Imagine like an evil Loki and like the redeemed Loki all together and stuff. Like it'd be fucking sick, dude.
yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
I'd also like it to be a split between the heroes and like not just heroes and villains, but like a mixture. Like
Mm,
so, let's say they're all tossed around these different like areas of Battleworld, and then you essentially make it so that the villains and heroes are stuck together. And they're like, well, we don't know anything about this area. I know we hate each other, but we got to work together and get the fuck out of here, right? Like,
yeah.
we got to figure this shit out. And so it's like this whole ordeal of trust.
Yeah.
And so you create this like tension. And so by creating the tension, it just makes for a great movie because it's like, at what point is he just going to be like, I'm going to betray you?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And even
It's
then,
it's
like,
it's great
good,
storytelling for sure. Like I love when when you see two people who absolutely hate each other but they have to work together. Like it's the classic story, right? And it's
right,
just it always works so well.
right.
Yeah.
But I would love it for it to kind of like pull a 180 on us, where it's like we expect the villain to essentially get the jump on them because it's like, well, I'm a villain. What do you expect? But like,
Yeah.
imagine a group essentially getting to near the end where they see like their teammates and everything, and then they just turn around and just fucking lock that bitch up. Like they just take care of like the villain. They're like, hey, what the fuck? And it's
Yeah.
like, dude, what do you expect? We're heroes. Like we gotta take you down. Like it's one of those
Yeah.
moments. Like
Yeah. 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 I
this was
love
a
it.
means to an end.
Yeah. Yeah. It would be sick to see like like Toby's Spider-Man working with Venom or something. You know, that'd be sick.
Well, and then like story writing it in a way too. So like it's almost as if like Toby, well, like not even that, but like let's say it's Toby and Venom and they work together. But then it turns out this Toby's like Spider-Man is from a different universe where like he's actually an evil Spider-Man. And so he like
Yeah.
betrays Venom. And it's like this whole like what the fuck situation. There's so many different ways you can write it. It's like it feels like there's so many different possibilities. And that's what I want to see in terms of Battle World. Like I want it to be chaotic. I want it
Yeah.
to be like nonstop, like, oh shit, actually we might have variants in here that are supposed to be heroes, but they're actually villains.
Would
Like
you
we have a
like it?
cat.
Oh,
Sorry,
sorry,
go
go
ahead.
on. No, go ahead. Keep going.
I was gonna say like, how awesome would it be if we had like essentially sleeper cap where it's it's Captain America, but then halfway through it's like, oh shit, this is from Secret Empire cap. Like like
Yeah.
it's he just
Hydra Cap.
fucking in the sense, yeah, like
Yeah.
or it's a Captain America that's had his brain or his mind taken over by Red Skull.
Yeah. 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 That'd be sick. I'd love to see that. Like, and I think that was a kind of a rumor that was around for a while as well. Like that they'd do like a Dark Avengers movie where it'd be like, evil variants of them, and then they'd have to fight themselves. So you get
Yeah.
like Hydra Cap versus like Steve Rogers, and you get Chris Evans back twice the impact because you got two of them. Like it'd be really cool. DC
Yeah,
did
because we
something kind of like that as well, though. They did like a Crisis on Infinite Earths, and there was like an evil version of like the Justice League, and they had to go and fight their evil versions of themselves, and it's fucking cool, bro. Love it.
well, and we were able to see like a portion of that, but not in terms of like good versus evil. But we saw that in like Endgame, where we see like the two of them fight each other. It's like, who
Mhm.
the hell are you? And it's like, what are you, part of Hydra kind of situation? Like
Yeah,
being
yeah,
able
yeah.
to get out of
He
things
actually,
because you
you
have
know,
additional knowledge.
you bring that up, and it's so funny because like obviously I hung over today after my party last night, but I was like, oh, what am I gonna do? Like I need some comfort, so I was like, I'm putting Endgame on. And I watched Endgame today, like, and it's just funny that you're talking about Endgame. It's come up a few times today, but that scene with the two Caps fighting each other, like it's so funny because like the 2012 version, he's like, "I've located Loki," like he thinks it's Loki, like it's very funny. Yeah, it's great, love it. So good. That is
Yeah.
America's ass.
Well, it's cool that like I really do like that they took something from a movie and were planning to make it into a show when they had the Tesseract drop, and then Loki manages to pick it up and take off,
Yeah,
which then it's like, oh shit, you did create like a variance in the time, like a branch. And
yeah,
so um it from what we can tell is that that branch is gone essentially, because like the moment they picked up Loki, they blew up that branch.
mm, yeah.
So, luckily there's no like, I mean, at this point now there probably is a universe where Loki doesn't exist because, he left. Um,
True,
so
true.
which
Yeah,
is interesting.
yeah, yeah. It is. It is interesting. Yeah, like I don't know. Like now that it's all said and done, like was it good? Like was it pulled off properly? Was it worth it? Like I don't really know.
The the visuals at the end were pulled off very like decoratively. I think it looked very pretty.
Yeah, seeing
But
the tree was epic. Like and like the TV that I have is just spectacular as well. Like and it's an OLED, so the colors come out so vibrantly on it. So like reds are like super red and greens are like very like vibrantly green and stuff. So watching that scene on my TV was just like, whoa, like this is beautiful. Like and I'm still seeing stuff that I haven't seen on that TV before as well, which is funny because like again, I don't think I'd watched Endgame on it. And like, even today when I was watching Endgame and the scene where Wanda's fighting Thanos and like the reds, like when she's like using her spells and shit, I was like, oh my god, this looks so good on the TV, like it's incredible. So yeah, it's just it's beautiful, man. I love it, absolutely love it.
yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that. Like, Katie and I went to Best Buy, and we were like, "Hey, what kind of like? Do you have any 8K TVs on display?" And they're like, "Yeah, do you want to go and demo it?" And I'm like, "Fuck yeah!" So like, we went into this one room. They closed the doors, and then they just like they played the second Avatar movie. I think it's like The Way of Water or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and
And is
I've
that
not.
they have it in AK?
No, it's in 4K, but it's upscaled or super sampled so that it looks 8K.
Right, okay, but it's
Which
not. That's not true AK. That's not true 8K. So it's
no,
like even if you're blown away by that, like if you got to take it, you're still not seeing AK. So like
no, because
it can be better. It's like that
right,
Pedro Pascal, you know, from like Wonder Woman 2. That's funny, dude. Go
yeah.
on anyway. Sorry, tell me.
Well, that's the coolest thing about it is that like even if it was upscaled, it looked amazing.
Yeah,
Um, it was one of those moments where like you can see every detail, and like
yeah,
back then, you know, when we were looking at 1080p like TVs, when we were like, holy shit, you could see a couple things here and there. And then they got to 4K and it's like, holy shit, you could see the wrinkles on Paul Rudd. He's actually getting older. Like it's one of those moments of like, holy shit, we thought he could live forever.
they're, they're CGI'd on, bro. I fully believe that he will live forever.
But yeah, it gets better and better. And
Oh yeah,
for all the displays that you see, like the demos that they put up for those TVs,
yeah,
those are just fully calibrated, like 100%. This is what it should look like, kind of
yeah,
situation.
yeah.
Whereas, like
Oh, like
when you see the movie, like they played what was it called? Was it something v Ferrari or something like that?
Ford versus Ferrari.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
They showed like the first scene of it, and they also wanted to like showcase some of the sounds because they had an 11.3 sound system.
Wow.
So
Wow.
like you hear the rumbling,
Yeah.
the fucking like everything. You hear the sounds of the cars like picking up speed,
Fuck yeah,
and
dude.
just like the way the blacks look black and the grays look great, like everything looks
It's stunning. Yeah.
spectacular.
Yeah.
And it's so cool. And like I was like, how much would the setup be? It's like, I don't know. They were like, there was one setup we did, it was like 30 grand. They had us like set up this whole theater room and whatnot. They even had like the seating and everything. And it's like, Jesus
It's
fucking Christ.
dreams, bro.
All I
Dreams.
but all I want to do is just get a nice TV. Like, I don't know if I want to go that hard.
Did they sell you on a TV? Are you gonna buy one?
I can't right now, dude. I'm in debt. Like I need.
Well, I don't mean that fucking monster of a TV, but like, are you in the market for a new TV? Like, are you gonna try and buy like a 4K or something?
I'm in the market to buy an AK.
Oh, you're okay. You're gonna go
Yeah,
8K.
yeah. It's I'm planning to do so when I'm off debt for a bit.
Yeah,
Um, or at least paid off 2 major credit cards.
yeah. To be honest, like, because again, I only picked up that TV when we moved into the new house, so I haven't even had it a year yet. And similar story, like I went in to check the thing out, like I knew exactly what I wanted, and like went to the TV that I want, and I was like to the dude, "That's the one I want. That give me that." Like, and the man's like, "Oh, do you want me to do it?" I was like, "No, no, you don't. You don't need to sell it to me. I've already made my mind up. Like, go get me one, please."
Yeah.
And yeah, like when I was in the shop, like the demos that they have, like Samsung, like create those demos, and I used to work in a shop that sold all that shit. Like I have our version of Best Buy, and yeah, like it's just the you can never get to watch content as good as those demos. Like I know it is a little misleading, like Netflix is never going to look that good. Like if you have an Apple TV plugged in, it's never going to look that good. The best that I've gotten is like throwing on like an Ultra HD Blu-ray disc on my PS5 directly plugged into the TV. Like that's the best that I've gotten. I popped in like Multiverse of Madness, and I was blown away by it. Like it was actually incredible. Like because the
Right.
TV that I got as well is 120 hertz, so it's like you can get the full capacity out of the PS5. You can see everything as it should be.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and it's amazing. Like it absolutely is. Like and like for me, having like a good setup is very important. Like I spent the money, got a good TV. You know, some people would probably hear how much I spent on my whole setup and be like, "Geez, you're insane! Like, what the fuck are you thinking?" Like, but for me, it's money well spent because I'm like, like days like today where I'm sitting dying with a hangover on my couch, and I'm like, I just want to curl up and watch one of my favorite movies. That's what I want to do. Like, and I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it right. So,
Don't mind me.
I know,
Did
I know
not
it's
hear a single word you said for the past minute. I was just trying to pretend like I could hear you. I'm
That's
so
so funny, man.
sorry.
You actually you made that look professional. That was funny. That was good.
I can hear you now. I'm sorry.
So for anybody who might be listening to us and not watching this live, Alex has a wireless headset, and in the middle of my speech there, I just saw him kind of messing with one of the ears, and he was swapping the batteries on it.
It died like mid
I love it.
conversation. I'm like, oh God, what does he
I love it.
say?
No, you kept a straight face, man. That's impressive. Very professional. Yeah, look, I was just talking shit anyway. We can move on. Um, what did you think of Invincible? Talk to me about Invincible.
Dude, um, Invincible is great. I think that the direction they're going with the show in season 2 is pretty fun. I'm assuming it's like taking hold of like everything that it's done so far in the comics, because when you have like the source material, it's like this is easy. All we got to do is just animate it. And
Yeah.
and that's what I love to see in these types of shows. Is like if you have the source material, just go by the source material,
Hmm.
and and it's gold. It's absolute gold. Because
You
like
know,
you
I'll
see
say
that
this to the day I die about DC. Like, why don't they just go by this incredible source material that they have and just convert the page to the big screen, convert the page to the small screen, convert the page. They kind of do it with animation. They have it. They have it right. They have it perfect with animation. But yeah, I don't know, bro. I don't know why they're all not doing this. Like Marvel, I'm sure are the same. Like they've got legendary comics off for the last 80 years. All your great movies are just sitting there on the page. Just convert them properly.
Yeah. I mean, and if you think about it, dude, like some of the greatest movie series that we've ever had were based on the fact that they had the books done.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
The Lord of the Rings,
Hmm.
holy shit. All 3 books made into movies. And yeah,
Brilliant.
they probably changed up a little bit here and there, but
Fantastic.
how often do you hear people like talk just like the moment you mention Lord of the Rings, they're like, oh man, I
Yeah,
kind of want to rewatch it. It's like one of those moments of like I could rewatch
yeah.
it anytime.
And they still hold up. They were made like what, 23 years ago? I think they shot all three of them at the same time, right? So I think it was in production from like 97 to 99 or something like that. And then I
Mhm.
think the first one released in 2000 or something. I'm probably getting the years wrong, but around that time. And to think even watching them, I only did a full rewatch, like full extended rewatch within the last 12 months. And yes, some parts of it look a little bit dated, but they hold up, man. They hold up.
Mhm.
They're incredible. And like that's a perfect example as well of like something that doesn't work, because in my opinion, I didn't like The Hobbit because I thought they were kind of stretched out too thin, and it felt kind of fillerish or whatever. And again, that's them converting one book into 3 films, and I could feel that. I haven't read the books, but I could feel it straight away. I knew that there was 4 books. There was The Hobbit and then The Lord of the Rings, and it felt like why are they making The Hobbit into 3 movies? It just felt
Right.
it felt wrong, you know.
It was way too elongated.
Yeah, it just didn't work. You know, I would have preferred all the best bits of the Hobbit trilogy put into one movie, and it would have been fucking fantastic.
Yep. You know that. So you know, want to know one of the funniest things about like that in terms of trivia? So one of the biggest fucking differences between like Battle of the Five Armies and the Hobbit book was during the time that the battle was going on. I believe Bilbo got knocked out
Oh, he missed
in
the
the
whole
book.
thing.
He missed the whole thing. And so in the movie we see the whole battle because like you can't just knock someone out and be like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
the war's over. But like how
In
funny would that
today's
have
world,
been?
I wouldn't be surprised if like Marvel tried to do something like that.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
it's like Loki gets knocked out and he kind of wakes up, and then it's like, oh, bro, you missed the whole thing, and it's like they don't have to shoot it. It's like a way of saving money. Like,
But that's what they did with Moon Knight.
yeah,
He
exactly.
blacked out. Like at the very end. Remember the finale? Like he blacks
Oh,
out and then wakes up
oh.
and
I
everybody's on the
couldn't.
floor.
I understood the blackout in like the first maybe 2 episodes. It
Right?
it benefited the story, but yeah, them doing it, and we said it at the time, but them doing a blackout in the finale really pissed me off.
It really pissed me off
Yeah,
too. I
yeah,
think like, and I think we both, agree that if they had done it to where it was not necessarily his shot of like blacking out, it was more so him going, "Ugh," and then the other character pops in, does all
yeah,
this crazy shit, and then he like
yeah.
comes back, and it's like, what the
Yeah, they
fuck?
do like a flickering of the screen or something, and then that's the kind of the mind shift, and
Yeah,
then like show us Moon Knight actually fucking kicking ass, like
right.
especially in the maybe not at the start. I understand the suspense and like the unknown, like keeping people's like interest in the story, but at the end, go fucking full whack, give us it all, like
Exactly.
yeah,
And
I know,
and again, that's why Invincible and Gen V did such a fucking banger job at the end of their first seasons.
yeah. Oh god, the end of Invincible season 1, like again, I've only watched it once. I'm really gonna try and get my girlfriend into it. Like she doesn't watch anime at all, like animations at all. So like, sorry, well, she watched like What If or whatever, but she wouldn't watch any Star Wars animated stuff with me or anything. So, but I'm really like, I said to her, like, I was like, you look, I think you'd like Invincible. Like it's actually, it's animated, but it's definitely like adult content. And even just with the start of season 2, like the first episode was just unbelievable. Like
Mhm.
how the show started. Like I had a feeling that they were going down the whole multiversal route anyway. I kind of felt like it was going there because I think I read something about a potential like Spider-Man crossover or something coming, and I was like, okay, the multiverse must get pretty wild in this show if they're potentially going to bring Spider-Man into it somehow.
Mhm.
But I had kind of forgotten about that when I was watching it, and then obviously how the first episode starts, and we're seeing Omni Man and Invincible going around just like taking over the planet and all. I was like, this is fucking insane. And then as it was coming to an end, I was like, this can't be like the actual like Prime universe. There's supposed to be something else going on, And it was
Right.
just like, oh shit, here we go. Yeah, so they're doing like multiversal shit. So it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Right.
And again, like
Well,
they know how to start. Like you say, they do a great end to that show. They know how to fucking start a season as well, because that's the first.
exactly.
The 2 seasons now have had absolute banger episode ones, like so good. Yeah. Oh man, I love that show. It's so good.
And the best thing about it is that even if we assume or understand or already feel like this is going to happen,
Mhm.
it's just how they do it, which
Yeah,
which is
the
like such a
delivery's
mm,
incredible. Yeah,
so fucking good.
yeah. chef's kiss, bro. Yeah.
Because like it's like even with like the multiverse, like there's some people who say that multiversal writing is lazy, but
Mhm.
if you do it in a way where it's actually fucking interesting, that's the coolest fucking shit ever. Because when you saw the alternate universe where Omni-Man and Invincible are just going ham
Yeah.
on the world and be like, fucking stop this. They snapped Adam Eve's neck just so that she could like be paralyzed, and then he's just gonna have her as a pet, basically.
Oh, dude, I like it. And doesn't Omni-Man, he's like, oh, so that's why you were trying to practice
That was
that
what you were
on.
like,
Yeah, he's like,
God damn.
so like, he's just like snapping necks trying to get it just right. Ah, it's sadistic, man. It's fucking brilliant. I love it. Yeah, it's so fucked. It's so good. Yeah, like
like
I presume that's the story is gonna go, that like we're gonna like like the main version of Invincible is gonna have to step into that universe and stop the version of his dad or whatever. Like they're gonna have to have like some sort of a multiversal interaction
yeah,
to some effect or something. Yeah.
right, because you saw the end. You're all caught up, right?
Yeah, at the end of, is it episode 2 or 3? I
Episode
can't
2.
remember how many. Is it only 2 that's been out? Yeah.
I think it's 2 right now.
Yeah. So the end is the alternate version, or is it the main version or the alternate version? There's a version of Invincible captured.
Right. That's an alternate one because
Yeah.
because Cecil and
Oh,
Donald
they were
are,
female. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I do remember. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, sick, man. I can't wait. Bring
right.
it on. Give me more. Give me more.
And it's just one of those moments of like, this is fucking cool. Like they're actually showing a multiverse. Like it's not just like, oh, little
References
thing here,
and
little
let's,
thing here.
yeah. Like someone's gonna
The-
step in a door there, then that got destroyed. We're getting to see the fucking worlds. Yeah, I know. It's
right.
great.
The fucking I forgot what the blue guys' names are, but like the twins, when they're
Yeah.
like, when he brings in like a multiversal like group of them, and he's like, hey, you said we were special.
Yeah, yeah. And they all have the same, they all have the same reaction. Yeah,
Exactly.
I love that character as well. He's going around like scooping up every variant of himself, like to keep them all safe, and they all have different experiences, and then it all kind of gels into like a hive mind. Like it's fucking sick, man. I love it. I love it.
Fucking good. And then like Cecil's up to shit. Always,
Oh, of
always up
course,
to shit.
of
So
course.
like that moment when the sea creature like just shrieks at Invincible, and he's like, ah, and I'm like, fuck, they're gonna find that out and they're gonna use that. Because they can't, because they're trying to fucking they're trying to get through his blood, at least. Like they're trying to figure out how to basically kill a Viltrumite. And it's
Yeah,
just, it's so fucking good, because like that's exactly what Fury does in Marvel, is that he's like always finding contingency plans. That's exactly what
yeah,
Batman does in his universe, where like he's always finding different contingency plans, even on himself. He's like, if
yeah.
I were to ever go rogue and like go against like the League.
He has to do that. They did a story on that recently, and that's the whole um the Batman who laughs. There's like a variant of Batman who has like the Joker, like what is it, like the it's not like a serum, but the accident that creates the Joker happens to a version of Bruce Wayne instead, and he basically takes over the entire multiverse. And the main Batman is kind of like, shit, like I'm fighting an evil of Joker version of myself. And he, again, they always say Batman with prep is unbeatable, but it's like, how do you beat yourself when that Batman also has prep? So it's
Right.
sadistic prep. Like, it's fucking fantastic. Yeah,
And then
great
there's
story.
like, right, and then there's the story with like the universe where Batman actually allows Azrael to take the helm, because Batman has to be out of commission for a while, so Azrael becomes the new Batman. But then
Yeah.
it turns out like he reigns in terms of a crusade and just starts fucking going batshit insane, like literally like fucking crazy, and then manages to like capture Batman and basically like decommission him and keeping him alive just for some weird sake. And then just like, it's just this fucking crazy thing where like realizing that Azrael's not a great pick, but like he was almost perfect for it,
Yeah.
because he did everything that Batman couldn't do.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fucking good. And that's kind of the similar thing with Damian Wayne, right? Like I think he's becoming a little more likable in the comics right now. Um,
Yeah, I'm a little behind. Like I'm not fully caught up, but I like Damien. Like I think he's a cool character. Like, having like Ra's al Ghul as a grandfather, like, is gonna shape him to be a different person, of course,
mhm,
like his mother's an assassin, and his dad's Batman. Like, it's like you've got the makings for a great character there, like, so um I'll be interested to see now, because obviously the DCU version of Batman is gonna have a Damien, so it's going to be very interesting to see who they cast, how they kind of develop that character, and how long they go with it. Like is he going to become? Because like there's so many different versions, and this is part of the reason why I love DC comics. Is like they do so many kind of like spin-offs, and like you know 6 issue kind of special runs where they just have crazy shit happening. Like, and
mhm.
there's versions of like Damien who become Batman when Bruce dies and all this sort of stuff. And it's just there's like so many different versions of Batman out there. Like, it's amazing. Like, there's you can just pick up a short little run and just go through a completely different story for
Mhm.
Bruce or for Batman. Like, there was one I read recently where it was talking about, it was like from the perspective of Catwoman, but she was like an old woman. She was kind of going back through her like marriage to Batman and so on, and they grew up, like they got married, they had kids, like they have a daughter, and she becomes like the new Batwoman and stuff like that. Like, it's fucking sick, man. I love it. I love it. And again, it just pisses me off so much that they have so many amazing stories like this, and they just don't do it on the big screen. Like, and
Well,
maybe James Gunn's going to change all this. I don't know. We have to see.
see, and that's the sad thing is like we can't say that too much about Marvel because Marvel has attempted to do so, but their story writers are just ass. They're
Yeah.
like straight cheeks, buddy. Like they do not know how to write stories because they keep wanting to change it completely. Like,
Yeah.
the She-Hulk writer literally was like, I want to write about a woman. And it's like, no, like this character is really popular
Mhm.
like within the Hulk kind of family, and just write her the same way because it's essentially answering what like the exact same thing that you're thinking. It's like you want to make an empowered woman, right? You want to make a woman who like understands her feelings and whatnot. And it's like in the comics, she's a
That's
fucking
who she is.
badass.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
She's there
confident.
already.
Exactly. This is what she envisions herself. And that's kind of like the whole point of like even a human envisioning who they really are. Like when like I'm sure as a kid you'd been like, "Oh man, I would have loved to have been Batman or Spider-Man or even like put on a cape and be like Superman and like stuff like
It wa
that."
it
Like cuz
was
it's
it was Spider-Man. Spider-Man was
oh
my
yeah.
childhood obsession. I didn't like Superman as a child. I thought he was, like, boring because it was just like kryptonite. It's the only thing that could, like, take him down. It's always kryptonite. At the time of Smallville and Lois and Clark, it's just like, it's always kryptonite.
Mhm.
You see, like, Dean Cain falling to his knees. It's like, "Oh, they found some more kryptonite." It's like, it's just always what it was. It was kryptonite or nothing, like, nothing could take him down. So I was like, and then, like, obviously they do, like, the red sun and stuff like that, like, and I think in the
Well,
comics they go into like different like colors of kryptonite, and like with different kind of effects on them and stuff like they tried to make it a bit more interesting, but I always just found it so boring. Whereas like Spider-Man, it's like he's a teenager, he's a kid like us, he's makes mistakes,
it,
fucks up constantly, and
yep,
then has to fix his own fucking issues, and it's just so relatable, and it's
right.
perfect.
And that's one of the things I really like about Marvel compared to DC though. Like is that DC gives you like um the become as gods kind of thing. Like they are gods in their sense. Like they are essentially like, you see the Amazonian woman with their mascara, like you see um Green Lantern, the Lantern Corps and whatnot. They're all completely like they're fully built, they're ripped, they're fucking like healthy to the nines. They're you see what's his name, Aquaman, Atlantis, like his fucking reign, like he is fully jacked and whatnot. Like those are gods, like, and
Mm,
so it's really hard to relate to them, but their stories are so fucking good because of the fact that even though they're gods, they still have their faults.
yeah.
Whereas Marvel, it's literally like you're on the ground, there's a fucking dude who like has spots and it's just like he's fucked because of an experiment, and
Mhm.
so he has to fight Spider-Man because he hates Spider-Man for what he did to him because Spider-Man caused it. Spider-Man's the reason behind a lot of different villains like, upbringing.
Mhm.
And the same thing with Hulk. Hulk caused so much death and destruction because he couldn't control his anger. And so there's the leader. You have the leader because there's an explosion that occurred, and it involved essentially like the gamma radiations, and so it messed with his brain. And so now he believes he's the true heir to the Hulk gene, essentially. And so like he wants to take that power and become strong. Then you have like Abomination, where like the gamma radiations from like an explosion, like it's always explosions for some reason.
They kind of poke fun at it in No Way Home a little bit, don't they? You know, it's like
Yeah.
it's like he fell into a like a vat of eels or something, and like Toby's like, oh, that'll do it. Or it's like, yeah, oh, my guy fell into like a sand thing, and you know, it's like, oh yeah, you can't be falling places. You know, so it's always accidents and stuff. Yeah, it's funny, dude. I love that they poked fun at that. That was great.
Right. And it's just like, and that's what you get with Invincible, basically. Like
Mhm.
he's always making mistakes. Like every mistake he's made so far, it's catching up now because we saw the new shapeshifter Martian that's like come in, and he's so afraid to be killed because he's like, I just wanted to show up on Earth, and I feel like I can be just like the Earthlings in the sense.
Yeah,
And like but Mars is fucked because of like that one human that got taken over by that Sequid.
yeah,
It's like that is because Invincible fucked up because he's still learning,
yeah.
and
Yeah,
it's so like
he's constantly getting his ass beat as well, which I think is funny because it's like,
yeah,
is he invincible? Like every episode, you see like he's like piss and blood and everything. Like it's like you're
right?
like, and this dude's getting his ass kicked. Like, is he invincible? Like, what's the fucking story here? Like, you know,
Oh,
it's very funny.
dude, how good is the title card though? Like for every episode,
I love it. I love it.
like
And
for
it's
season one, it was
kind,
the blood splatter.
yeah. I kind of like sometimes it's kind of cheesy, but like I love it even still. Like, you know, it's like they'll be saying a line and it's like they won't say the word invincible. It'll just be like boom, it just pops up on the screen.
But that's so cool.
I
Like
know, I
that's
love it.
just
I
like
love it. I do love it, but it's sometimes you're just like it's a little cheesy, like you know, because like sometimes the sentences don't really work. They're just like have to get the word invincible in there, you know.
yeah.
But
Well,
I
like
do love it. I do love
it worked well with the kid. It's like, Dad, who is that? And he's like, oh, that's boom.
it. Yeah,
And
yeah.
then
No,
like,
I think was it the first time they did it? It was like, you know, blah blah blah. Was it the first time in this season anyway? It was when he was on the big Titantron or whatever, and it was like, you know, and you know, like I am, and then boom, invincible, like you know, yeah, it's sick.
But the coolest thing is that they're not redoing the season one title card in the sense that like it's blood splatter. It's now like cracked.
Yeah,
There's
and you can
cracks.
see the different color invincible and font behind it, so it's like, you know, Earth versus Earth, or you know, or whatever, like you know, like multiverse. Yeah, it's very clever.
And
Very clever.
like what's his name? Immortal Man or Mr. Immortal? Can't remember
I
his
don't know.
name.
Yeah, I can't
Um
remember his name either.
with Duplicate, I was like, what the fuck? That's weird in my opinion. I'm
Yeah,
like, how like I know they're of age, but it's like, God, you're kind of up there, dude. Like
yeah. I thought that was very funny with when your man's talking to her outside the shower. She's like, "Hey," he's like, "Hang on a second, I know that face." And he's like, "Wait a minute." Yeah, it's very good, very good. There's a lot of great like voice actors in the show as well. It's very well acted. You can just tell, and like I'm always finding with Prime because you know the way you can pause the episode on Prime and you can see the actors because I'm like, I know that voice. Pause, check the face, and like there's like some very good actors in the show doing a lot of
Steven
voices.
Yeun, like fucking
Yeah,
sick
so
actor.
good, so good, and obviously, what's his name? Who plays J. Jonah Jameson? Who's Omni Man?
Oh, J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons. Yeah, like such an iconic voice. Like he's incredible. I don't know if you saw there was a clip of like him in the booth, like talking about that scene from the first season where he's going like he's like, I can go and get
I don't
pizza.
like pizza.
Yeah, he's like, I'll have it back here. I'll have it back here from Rome or whatever before the fucking cheese stops bubbling or whatever. Sick dude. And like it's just him, and he's just chilling. Like, you know, he's got his hands in his pockets and he's just like not even it doesn't feel like he's even acting, like, you know, it's just like he's just reading off the page, like, you know, it's just him, you know, it's just so good,
So
dude.
fucking good.
I love it.
Oh,
Yeah,
man,
it's sick, dude.
and like Walton Goggins as Cecil, like I've never heard him do any voice other than like a Southern accent because I think he's from I can't remember if he's from Alabama or Georgia. But he does such a like he's a fantastic actor. He was in Justified. He's in the Righteous Gemstones. He's in Vice Principals. He's kind of working a bit more with Danny McBride now. They must be good friends.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's such good fucking chemistry between them too. Like I fucking love when Danny McBride picks like such a good actor to like work with him.
Hmm.
Because like I think Danny McBride has great like range of comedy,
Yeah.
and like adding John Goodman to the mix. I don't know if you've been watching The Righteous Gemstones, but like
I haven't watched any of it. No.
it's so fucking good, dude.
I actually, because my dad is actually a big fan of like I think he watched that Principal show. He liked that one, and he's a big fan of Eastbound as well. And I was
Dude,
kind of saying, "Have you watched Gemstones?" He was like, "Yeah, I watched it." He didn't really like Gemstones though, so I was kind of like, "Oh shit, maybe I won't like it."
weird.
But I will try it. I have the first season there, so I do want to tip into it. It's just I know it's going to be one I have to watch alone, because my missus isn't into stuff like that at all. So I'm just got to try and find the time to watch it by myself. But
Gotcha.
I do want
Uh,
to.
like
So,
it I definitely understand why it wouldn't be for everyone. There's a lot of different things that are referenced in the show, or things that are like based upon like religion and mega churches and whatnot. So like for people who are like opposed to religion, or like are in favor of it and don't want to see that kind of stuff, like it might be hard for them.
yeah,
um
yeah,
so like but the whole idea about the show is just that they're kind of like a corporation, in the sense
hmm,
like they're tycoons, essentially. They're constantly trying to spread their faith in
okay,
quotes. Like they but like in a funny way. Like they're like John Goodman's character is like the lead, in the sense like he runs the church because his wife has passed, and like you'll learn more about like what happened to his wife, and why the kids are the way they are, and all this kind of stuff. And like Walton Goggins character is Baby Billy, which is like the brother to the deceased wife of like the main character of John Goodman. And so like it's it's this like nice excuse me, it's this nice storyline. God, I need some water. I've been talking a ton.
sorry, dude. Go on.
No, you're good. I know, like I feel like partially it's because like you're not feeling too great, right? Like
I'm not 100%. That's for sure. But I think I'm surviving better than I thought I would. I just, yeah, like, again, you're talking about something I haven't seen, so this is all you, and it's,
you're right.
you probably know a little more about Invincible than I do as well. I think you've read some of the comics, have you, or have you not?
Not read them entirely, just like looked up a bit of like the lore on it, just to kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
understand like what this is based on, and like how this is progressing. And like any of the trivia that pops up in Prime Video like really helps as well. It lets you know like what panels are this part of, like which comics are this from. um
yeah,
and it really shows like how much they care about you know the essential storyline, and that they
yeah.
want to make sure that it's like you know it's nearly one to one.
Mhm.
Of course, they have to change up a few things, because when it comes to translating from a comic or manga to a show, um, you might have to stretch out some panels, because
Different
it,
pacing, yeah,
yeah, because if it's like one shot of something, it's like, well, we need a bit more conveyance, or we need more emphasis on this. So like, let's add a little bit to the shot.
yeah,
That's essentially what they do to One Piece, which is why so many people are upset. Like they think it's like takes so long, because of like there's so much emphasis on things like there's like these pausing moments. It's like this old school kind of feel of like when you see the Dragon Ball Z characters kind of stand there, they're standing off for a moment before they actually start the combat.
hmm,
Because and that's one of the biggest things about One Piece too, is like the music. The music's so essential, because like that brings in the emotion. Like you hear the violins come in, like "Na, na, na, na," like you feel that sense of danger coming in. And that's kind of how you feel like with Invincible. Like as you see things like happening, you'll hear the music kind of pump up a bit, or you'll hear like in that one episode with Titan, and you hear like that doom 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 doom. And that was so fucking pumped up for that, like for those scenes and whatnot, because it's like this dude, like it feels like this character is a badass,
hmm,
and
yeah,
and you want to convey that. And like it's so good. It does so well when you have good music tied in with it. There's like there's almost no faults with Invincible whatsoever. um I can't even think about what like what I would consider to be bad about it. It feels almost like it's an original.
Yeah, I'd agree. Like I struggle to find faults with it. It's incredible. And like even I was watching the second episode, and the bit where he takes his missus to Vegas, and
Yeah,
she's on top of the Eiffel Tower. And it's like, are we in Paris? He's like, oh no, well, like I couldn't take you there because if I flew you there, the skin would
it
be
was all
like
your skin.
torn off your face or whatever. And then like he gets the call and he has to go. And he's like, oh, I gotta go, I gotta go. And I was like, he's not gonna just leave her there, is he? Like, she's in Vegas and he's on top of the thing. And then like he goes to like leave, and I was like, oh shit, like are they thinking about this? And I was like, is this gonna be like a kind of plot hole or something? And then he's like, oh yeah, I gotta drop you back first. Like I was like, yeah, no, they're on the ball here, they're on the ball. But I was like, oh shit, are they gonna fuck up here? And he's just gonna fly off and leave her there. It's like, how is she getting down from there? Or she's stuck in Vegas now.
And that's one of the coolest things about like watching a show like that, is that if they care enough about the audience and the audience makes that question, and a moment later they answer the question, that's good writing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I have very high hopes for this show. It's high on my list for shit to watch. And like we can definitely cover it over the next couple of weeks. I don't know how long the season's going to be. I think they're only doing one episode a week, right? So
yeah,
we could be talking about this for a good few weeks. So apologies to anybody who's not an Invincible fan, but hopefully we can convert some people. We got Rob to watch Gen V last week, which I thought was kind of funny. I was thinking like, me and you were we did he? Yeah,
I think
love it. I love it. So yeah, I just love that me and you are sitting having a conversation about something, and we get one of our listeners to actually just go and watch something straight away. We are influencing people's viewing pleasure. So I thought that was sick. Last topic of the night, because I gotta go to bed. I'm absolutely shattered here. So, but give me a quick kind of spoiler review of the Marvels. Tell me about it. Your experience. Give us maybe your out of 10.
Like a 5, maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
It was a movie. Like,
yeah,
sure was a movie. That's one of the.
I've seen a lot of people saying shit, and then there's like I'm seeing a lot of like people defending it as well. So it's very kind of 50-50. I feel like, like usually when something comes out, if it's bad, like everyone is kind of just talking shit about it, and then like there's people that are like, yeah, it was bad, but it is what it is or whatever. But I'm seeing a lot of people on like Twitter and stuff, like really like heavily defending this film as well.
What are they
like,
saying?
Just stuff like typical like incel men, like give it, really showing themselves up, like, giving bad reviews for this, and they're really like showing their true colors and all this sort of shit. Like I'm just like, oh my god. But like Josh from the Den of Nerds, for example, like everyone knows here I'm a big Josh fan, but he was like surprisingly entertained by the film. Like he was going in expecting the absolute worst, expecting to potentially even walk out of the film. He's like, I'm gearing up to write or like, script the worst fucking diss video for Marvel that I can if this movie is a fail, because like he's like, we started the year with Ant-Man Quantumania, which was dog shit, and then if they actually end with this movie and it's as bad as that or worse or whatever, he's like, I'm gonna be fucking raging, like fuming, he says, like. So but he came out of the movie theater and he's like, it actually wasn't too bad, it wasn't the worst. So I'm like shit, I need to see this movie, I need to make my own opinion of it, like. But there's a lot of shit being talked about it, like underdeveloped. Like the villain apparently is like the worst written villain ever in the MCU. Like she's just so boring.
Do you know why? Do you know why? Because the fucking comic character was a guy who like ran an empire, like he ran part of the Kree Empire as a general or something. As far as I remember, he's a character that does not mean anything to any of the other characters in the entire universe. I don't even see, like, I read part of the lore of it, and it's essentially like nobody really interacted with him in the comics. Wow. So why did you pull him out of this, turn him into a female, give her like metal teeth, which she does not, like that actress does not have metal teeth. She has a full set of clean teeth. Where the fuck did that come from? Why did you have to do that? I think the costume design was horrible. I think that the fucking the the like the execution was bad, but I gotta say the choreography like with that
The fight
villain,
scenes. Yeah,
that was
really,
fun.
really good.
That
Nice.
was
Yeah,
fun.
I have heard someone
So
say that similar that the choreography was good. It was fun. It was
yeah,
energetic and everything, and like choreographed well.
yeah, which is fucking weird because it's like you got one part right. Why what happened to the story? Like the story was kind of picking up a bit, and they had like all these moments of where the characters seem to be coming to terms with things,
Mhm.
and you feel like it's gonna lead towards something, but then you get Iman Vellani's character being that she's such a huge fan of like Captain Marvel,
Yeah,
like and like spoilers, it's just this constant gushing. I can't
yeah.
fucking stand it. I fucking can't. Because
I
like
heard someone say something about this as well, and they were trying to defend it, and they were saying, "Well, Tom Holland's Spider-Man gushes all over Iron Man for the entire slate until he dies, and everyone just loves that and accepts that." That was the
no,
argument I
because
heard. I'm not saying this. I'm just repeating what
right,
I read.
right. No, I'm not yelling at you. I'm saying that's a fucking no from me, dog. Like that's
Yeah,
literally like the opposite. He fan guide like, and he was excited to meet Tony Stark and was like and wanted to hug him and whatnot, but that's because he barely met him. Like later on you see that they're like it's this whole endearment, and you really see it like near the end at fucking Infinity War and Endgame.
mhm,
Fucking Tony's holding him while he's gone, and then he realizes like he just lost someone that idolized him and like cared for him,
yeah,
and then he comes back and he gives him the biggest fucking hug, and it's like, and you're telling me that that's too much? No, it came full circle. The dude likes him back. Like it's
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
one thing.
Feels like
Whereas
he
like
lost
in
his
the
son.
right, whereas in the movie it's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be mean to you. I'm sorry, and it's
Oh
like
god. Yeah, I
it's
really feel like
okay.
I'm gonna.
I love
I
you.
really feel like I'm
It's
gonna
okay.
hate
I
that.
love you. Yeah, and it's so fucking bad. It's so fucking bad, dude. Like it's
Yeah,
they work to like the characters work together, which is great.
mhm,
Um, I think they overdid the whole like taking in Kamala's family in because this whole threat shit going on. Like there's the family's there. Like I'll tell you that the family's there. So if you love the
but
family, you'll
they've
love
been in
it.
the they were in the trailer, right? I knew they
Yeah.
were gonna be in it, but, um, yeah, the big criticisms I've heard, are that Fury is a completely different character. Like, it's as if
He-
it's as if Secret Invasion hasn't just happened. Like, it's even laughable.
oh
Like, it's
yeah.
like this dude has come down to Earth in Secret Invasion, basically lost, and left an army of shapeshifters on the planet, and then just fucks off back into space. This movie happens. He's a complete, like, it's as if the events of that show haven't changed his character whatsoever. And then it's like he goes back down to Earth as well. It's like you've just left the place in a shit heap, and now you're going down again, and you're acting completely different. So like that's stuff I kind of wish I didn't hear because I'm gonna obviously be like hyper focused on all that when I'm watching the movie. So I don't know. I'm obviously going to see it. I'm going to go to see it on Wednesday. It's actually my birthday on Wednesday, and I have the night off. Like I usually take Wednesdays off from streaming and stuff. So, and I'm
Mhm.
off work that day as well. So I'm going to just hopefully when my missus finishes work, we'll drop the kids off and we'll go actually see the film. So I'm looking forward to it. But I my hopes are not high.
Yeah.
What
Because
did you think of the after credit scene? Because I know what it is. Well, sorry, I don't know the like minute by minute of what actually it is, but I just know that there is an X-Man in it, a blue X-Man, hairy guy.
Iceman. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No.
How did you feel
Yeah.
about that? Did it? Because to me, again, I haven't seen it, but to me, it sounds desperate.
It is.
Yeah,
It's definitely desperate, but it was still cool. Like it was one of those ones like, okay, that's
yeah,
cool. But I wasn't like going off my seat because I wasn't excited for the whole movie and
mhm,
didn't have this moment of like, oh, blah, blah. It was just
yeah.
like, oh,
Cool.
that's cool. Okay.
Yeah. So the story, as far as I understand, is Monica gets stuck in 838, is it? And
If it's
or you don't know?
838, if it's 838, you can fuck off because this is like before like can I just tell you then?
Yeah, go on, go on.
So her mom's there, but like maybe Monica's not born um in that universe.
Okay, so it's a
It's
younger version of Maria, is it? Maria Rambo.
No, it's about the same. It looks about the same age
Okay,
as it would be.
right.
Um, Costume is different.
Hmm.
It's not from Multiverse of Madness.
Okay, but
So
she is Captain Marvel in this universe as well. Yeah,
don't
maybe.
know necessarily because it's a different colored costume. It could be something that occurred. Maybe she's a mutant, and that's why she's down.
Yeah,
You know, and
I think I saw something about this in Josh's Discord, but I think it's not Captain Marvel. It's a different character. It's like a mutant character, as far as I understand. I didn't know the name off by heart, so I don't know who the character is. But yeah,
which is fine because like characters can be like characters that weren't previously mutants can be mutants in different universes, which is perfectly fine. Like
yeah, yeah.
if you're trying to write new universes into the multiverse, that's great. I would love that. Keep doing that. Like, make it fluid. Don't just go. There's only one universe, and it's this, and
Hmm.
it's 838, and it's 838, and because I'm checking out at that
Yeah.
point because like there's so many fucking different universes in the comics, bro. There's 1610. There's the movie ones that we know of. We have Earth One, which is essentially our universe
Hmm.
where all our heroes are perceived within comic books.
Yeah. I'd love to see that in the MCU at some point somehow.
That'd be
It'd be very cool.
it's the sickest shit ever, dude. Like in
Yeah.
the Logan verse where we saw, the comics based upon him. That could also be a situation where like they had writers or like story writers write stories about these characters, and so they made comics of them. So like they
Mhm.
exist in a universe where there's comics about them, but they actually exist, which I think is so fucking cool. Like it's
That's like Miles in the Into the Spider-Verse, where he first gets the powers and then he picks up the first Amazing Spider-Man comic and he's like
Yeah,
reading the lines of it happening to him. Like that shit's cool.
it's
But
so fucking cool.
imagine how cool like a final Stan Lee scene would have been if they got to like naturally end his cameos with potential like Earth One like snap of like Stan maybe creating one of the heroes or something like that would have been such a nice like kind of send off for him.
Oh yeah. But then like that's a great moment, but it also like it's like where do you go from there? Like if you wanted to continue, do you just reboot? Do you just do this? Do you like what do you do? Um
Yeah.
so like that would have to be like an old like in penultimate kind of situation where like let's say everything got fixed, everything is over and pieces among the world for forever. And so it actually turns to like Earth One, and then you see like Stanley finishing it up and
Yeah.
making a signature, which would have been cool. But like, I think those moments it's kind of past a bit, essentially because we don't have Stanley anymore. We don't
Mhm.
have that kind of like connection so much. We did kind of had something similar in like Big Hero 6, right? Like we had more connections going in with like the family member. Forgot his name.
Yeah,
Like
I
I
don't know.
like that Stan Lee was like so much in at every different place
Mm.
within Marvel, and so we don't essentially have that anymore, which is
Yeah.
kind of sad.
Yeah, I don't know if this is actually 100% true, but again, I'm talking about Endgame because I was watching it today, but um the rumor is that the like old man Rogers was actually meant to be Stan Lee at the end, and he was meant to be old man Cap, and then all of the cameos would have made sense in a way because it would have been Steve just checking in on the timeline and making sure everything's going to plan, which actually sounds beautiful when you think about it. Like it's like because if you think back to all of his cameos, it's like oh like when he's like delivering the package at the end of is it Civil War when he's like knocking on Tony's door and it's like is this Tony Stank? Like imagine that was like Steve, old man Steve ripping the piss with with uh with Tony, like it'd be fucking amazing. So
Yeah, that'd
yeah,
be
it's sad.
fun.
It's sad that obviously that didn't get to happen, but it would have been cool. Like
Yeah.
if it was actually him, like it's like, oh, there's Steve over there. He's an old man, and we walk over and it's fucking Stanley. Like it would have been sick.
I changed my name.
Yeah. It's like, man, you've had some jobs over the years. I've seen you popping up loads of times as different things. Yeah, bro, it's after midnight for me here, so I'm gonna end it here. We've gone over the hour and a half mark, is where we kind of usually drop off anyway. So, um, next week on the cast, all I've seen the Marvels, so we might just dig a little deeper. Maybe we'll just get my reactions, and we might be able to have a bit of a more structured discussion about it. We'll talk about the next Invincible episode as well. And is there anything else? I don't even know.
I mean, if you start Jujutsu Kaisen, we can start talking about that too.
I'll try. I'm not going to make a promise, but I will try. We'll see. I'll see how the week goes. I need to try and if I can dig out a dub of the first season. Do they just is that just labeled? Because I know the movie that you showed me was called Jujutsu Kaisen 0, right?
Yep.
So is it just Jujutsu Kaisen 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever? Like, is that are they just done in arcs like that?
No. Zero just means before. Like it just means
Okay.
the like ground zero. That was the base. So like
Yeah.
if you had watched the show and not seen the movie yet, like that would have been fine.
Yeah, of
Um
course. Yeah.
but I figured like since the movie is part of the canon, like it's part of the storyline, like it's going to be essential later. I
Mhm.
figured like just start from the beginning, just start from ground zero.
Timeline order. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's fine. It
And
makes sense.
it's funny that you say dub, man, because like I there are TikToks that I send to Katie that
Mhm.
have the dub voice of the One Piece characters. And I remember sending it and she had to pause it and she goes, I fucking hate the dub character voices. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I know. They're bad. They're not
Yeah.
good. Like it's really hard for American like voice actors to get it perfectly for certain shows.
Yeah.
And like the Japanese make their animes and pick the right voice actors for each character because that's what they envision the character sounds like. And so when they change it up in the dub and they make one character who sounds like supposed to be very intuitive and very thoughtful and whatnot, and then you get like the dub being like, "Hi, I'm this kind of guy." I'm like, it's like,
Yeah. It's just lost in
bro,
translation.
it's so bad. Like, you remember in Jujutsu Kaisen Zero? I know you were tired, but do you remember, uh, like one of the characters like who can only speak in terms of like sushi like ingredients?
Mm.
His voice is deeper than in the fucking in the anime, like in the sub. And
Yeah.
so and then like you have different characters like Gojo is actually like lighter sounding in the anime, like for the Japanese sub over the dub, like, and it's just there's characters like I've heard Nanami, like, and later on you'll see Nanami and like his character voice is like a lot lighter than it is in the Japanese version, where like it's so fucking powerful. Like that voice actor is so fucking notable and so fucking like important to that character's voice. It's so fucking driven.
Yeah.
When you hear him talk, you like, even as a guy, you hear him talking, you're like, ooh, sounds good.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Yeah, I think that maybe if I was to like say, because obviously I'm a like big like Demon Slayer fan now, so
Mhm.
and I've only watched the dub, but I would say now if I went back and watched the sub, I probably would hate some of the voices because I'm used to
So
the dub now. You know, I'd be the opposite.
So that's the funny thing, dude,
Mm,
is I like, and I tell this to a lot of people, and I've seen it, and I've seen streamers talk about it too. You say that now, and you say that like with such heart, but I would guarantee you, it always turns out like this. You're like, well, I guess I could try it out on the sub and take a look, and then you listen to it and listen to it, and you're like, ah, that wasn't too bad. And then you're 100 episodes in, and you're like, okay, I can see why these characters' voices work the way they do. And then you try to go back to the dub and you're like, I can't. And
yeah,
that's how it turned out for a lot of people, like even my friends, like a handful of my friends who I've driven them to like watch it in sub.
yeah.
Like they just can't watch it in dub anymore because it sounds perfect in sub. Perfect. Those characters sound exactly how they should sound.
Yeah, I just
It's I
especially
know,
with some,
and you're telling me
especially
it's
with
so
something.
hard.
Yeah, it's just I don't like reading when, especially when I'm watching something like Demon Slayer, where I want to be taking in all the art and the choreography and everything like that. I don't want to be like reading subtitles, like,
Yeah.
that's just the way I
Um,
think of it.
so it's time to learn some Japanese.
Yeah, that'd be easier.
It would be, wouldn't it? Like just to kind of get a
Yeah,
general understanding.
yeah, absolutely. All right, I'm gonna end it here, guys. If you're new to the channel, all the usual stuff, drop a subscription, leave us a comment below if you're listening to us on a replay. Let us know what you think. If you've seen the Marvels, give us your score out of 10. And if you're listening to us, thank you. Listen more. See you in the next one, guys. Have a good one. Bye bye.
Take care.